Okay, so guys, this is a very widely requested video. I did want to take a little bit of time to shoot this today just because obviously you guys have been constantly asking me, especially through Instagram DM, how do you even go about finding qualified e-commerce businesses to reach out to in the first place? Right? Now, this is a topic that that comes up quite often. And I think the confusion arises from just the fact that people don't really have any sort of directory when it comes to e-commerce, right? If you're targeting something like local businesses, for example, it's very easy for you to go, for example, if you're doing real estate, it's very easy if you're in the States, especially to go to something like Zillow and you have a huge directory, right? Same thing with even something like cryotherapy or chiropractors or gyms, whatever. Any sort of local business niche, you could literally just go on Yelp or you can go on Google Business and you can literally just have a huge directory of businesses and you can qualify from there. Right. But today I want to actually cover something a little different. It's going to be just strictly e-commerce based. And I probably will make a video on how to find info product and coaching businesses, AKA personal brands and influencers somewhere down the line. But today I just wanted to focus on e-commerce first and foremost, because that's the question that I get most often. So when it comes to e-commerce, as I said, you can sort of browse around in forums and, Shopify forums and stuff like that. And that can sort of be your directory. But I just don't really think that has a wide enough scope. I do think that, there's a very limited number of businesses that are active on those forums. And so today I'm just going to show you guys three main ways to go about finding them. And one of them is my personal favorite. It's probably going to be really easy for you guys because it takes minimal effort. And I'll go into the first one, this one that I'm mentioning that takes minimal effort. I'll go into that one first and foremost. So the first method is always start out with some sort of sub niche in mind. Right. So for example, with e-commerce, pretty much anyone can sell anything online. You could sell home appliances. You could sell, snacks for fitness buffs, gym rats. You could sell swimwear. You could you could sell anime subscription boxes. Like it doesn't stop, right? Anyone can sell anything online. So you got to make sure that you're niching down and that you have a strategy when it comes to finding these businesses. So first and foremost, let's just take the example of swimwear, for example, and I'll go through a couple different sub niches so you guys can see that it pretty much works for anything. So, with swimwear, some of the key search queries that I would do, for example, is literally just type into Google top 10 new swimwear brands, let's say. You hit enter. Bam, there will be dozens of different blog articles, dozens of different contributors writing pretty much reviews of these companies. Right now, obviously, with these, a lot of companies do actually put money into it as, sort of a form of PR, which is great because then, these companies are probably pretty well off if they can afford these types of placements. And at the end of the day, I just think that with a lot of these companies that do have placements in blog articles, they take their business very seriously. And at that point, their sales numbers are probably already doing very well. So that they have a great foundation, which also tells you that they have great warm traffic that you could start building off of. And if you're in the e-commerce niche, that it's very crucial for you to work with brands that already have some sort of foundation in place. And I'll get into more of that, the technical side in a little bit. But for now, just know that you're looking for well-established businesses. You're looking at businesses that can actually afford your service and that will get a ton of value from your service, right? Sustainably. So if you go off to the first article that shows on Google right here, obviously the first few placements, I mean, for example, this is a brand by Candice Swanepoel, I believe. I think that's how you pronounce it. But yeah, that like she's a huge Victoria's Secret supermodel or whatever. She has a huge brand in place. A lot of people buying her stuff. Not to say that you shouldn't actually go into this and actually figure out whether or not they're going to be a qualified lead for you. But, usually the top few placements in these sort of articles are already doing very well. And they probably already have a full-on digital marketing team that, has a lot of things covered already. Obviously, you should still go through and see if they need any help. But I'll use a smaller, a better fit example for you guys, just so you guys can take a look at what sort of the ideal client would look like. So let's scroll down here. I've actually run through this article beforehand, so I would save you guys some time. But I know that, for example, this company is a good fit because that first and foremost, they have a ton of Instagram engagement. They have a ton of comments, etc. So you'd go off. First thing I would look at is their Instagram. right? So you would go through and, you just really, really want to look for the fact that, they have some sort of foundation in place. As I said, they have to have at least one thing that sets them apart. So obviously the thing that sets them apart here is that they're sustainable. And I believe they've also had like Sports Illustrated models wear their stuff. So obviously great brand in place already. And on top of that, they're sustainable swimwear, which is something that you don't see that often. So they're very unique. And then on top of that, they already have a great foundation when it comes to Instagram. You can see that their comments on some posts are just through the roof. Their social proof is definitely there. They post a lot of story highlights. They post on a daily basis, etc. So you know that at least on the Instagram front, this company is qualified. From there, the next thing you want to do is look at their website and also at the same time open up their Facebook. So just literally search the company name here, which is Faye. From there, yep, same logo. So you go into there, and then the first thing that I look at after the Instagram is just whether or not they're running any ads to begin with, right? And if they are, how well they are doing. So give me, oops. I think my camera disappeared. All right, we're gonna have to continue without my camera. Anyways, the next thing you want to do is go off to their info and ads. From there, you're really looking for what are they currently doing right now? Is there a lot of potential for them to grow? And are they even running ads at all? So right here, I'm not going to go into the technicals, but I do know that they could use a lot of work. They're not really showing any sort of like specific ad copy that resonates with specific audiences and where they're at along the process of the sales funnel. They're not really testing enough variations, etc. So that's just a very, very high level of it. But, with your expertise, with your knowledge or your team's knowledge when it comes to what makes a good Facebook ad strategy, you're going to be able to tell whether or not they could actually use some help. And if they could use help, how big of a return, additional return, do you think that you can make them by just fixing their existing systems? And obviously, if they don't have any Facebook ads, that's also an ideal situation as well. And then next thing you want to do is make sure that they have adequate website traffic already, right? Because like I said, the easier sort of clients are the ones that already have a ton of warm traffic, a ton of previous engagement. From there, obviously, that makes your job as a marketer or as an agency very, very easy, because that just tells you that there have been people who have expressed their interest in the past, right? And that's similar to what we're looking at along the lines of the Instagram as well. So when it comes to their website, they have currently 13,000 website visits a month. Not huge, but it definitely meets the minimum standard, right? Because when a site doesn't have enough traffic, SimilarWeb will actually say, we don't have adequate data to actually show you. So that is a good sign that they have 13,000 on a monthly basis. And on top of that, the bounce rate is super low, which tells me that most of the people that come here do end up browsing around on at least multiple pages. What bounce rate means is that it's the percentage of people that type in this URL, they hit enter, and then they just look at that first page and they don't take any additional action. And since only like less than a fourth of these people are actually leaving after just viewing the first page, that tells me that most of the people coming through, around 75% of the website visitors, do actually end up doing something on the site, which is a great sign. All right, so relatively low bounce rate. From there, the customer experience looks pretty good. So that part checks out. And then finally, like I said, it really comes down to how you feel about this brand. Do you think that they're doing anything different? Do you think that they actually have set themselves apart and sort of differentiated themselves already from the rest of the competitors in the market? Very clearly with something like this, I do think so. And I do think that, as a agency owner myself, I do think that they're going to be a company that is very, very easy to get results for. So just in this example, I would personally reach out to a brand like this, right? Now, obviously, this is a super high level sort of description when it comes to my qualification process. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it, such as actually trying to find the business owner to begin with, which is probably something I'll cover in the next video. But just for this example right here, this is a company that I reached out to, provided that I could actually get in contact with the owner, which, on the back end before doing this video, I was actually able to find as well. So overall, if these things just generally check out, most likely this is a company that you want to reach out to, right? And keep in mind, I literally have only just gone over one method in terms of finding these businesses. There's still two more that I want to go over. Okay. So Now that we've found something called a root account, this is a perfect transition for you to not only look through these, blog articles, but also just use social media, just use Instagram's algorithm to go ahead and obviously spit back out a lot of related brands, right? Because you know that this one is already a qualified company. The stuff that pops up on suggested might also be qualified companies as well, at least in terms of their engagement, in terms of their size, in terms of their sales numbers, what they sell, etc. So, going off of here, Instagram will literally spit out 20 or 30 different accounts. Most of them are companies that might be qualified. And you have to remember that for every new page that you click into, for example, the Naked Tiger, they have their own different set of companies as well, right? And obviously some of these will duplicate and sort of repeat and show themselves a few more times. But that's not the point. The point is that you have at least 20 to 30 new potential leads that you could just look through just by browsing the suggested section, right? And I think I'm going to have a little pop-up of the mobile app version pop up on the right side of the screen right now. But you get my point. You just go through the suggested, you make sure that you backtrack. So for example, if you're on the Naked Tiger, you go to, let's see, let's find a different brand here. Let's say you go to this one. When you're actually going forward and you're looking at suggested accounts for this one, you want to make sure you're going back and you're going through these companies again as well. You want to go till the very end of the list because you might have missed quite a few companies. So just make sure that you're looking through the entire list overall and that you're saving posts of companies that you find might fit your criteria. So for example, you are doing, all right, let's say that you save, you see that this company is qualified, you save it into a little folder, preferably named clients or something like that. And from there, you can actually go back, take a separate session and actually lead source through these and qualify these. But, in terms of my method, I personally like to have a short little session to actually save these posts first, go through the root accounts suggested pages, and then have another maybe 20, 30-minute session going through each individual saved posts, Facebook section, Facebook info and ad section, and the website and stuff like that. But you can pretty much do it however you want. Just make sure that you're actually going through all these accounts that pop up. And then the final method is, I can't actually show you on the desktop version of Instagram just because I don't think that it's available right now. So I actually have another pop-up right about now. It'll pretty much, what you want to do is you want to go into the explore page, right? You know that little tab that has like the search icon. You literally go there and then you filter by either, I believe it's like style or shopping. Those are the two best tabs to filter through. From there, if you've saved adequate posts, Instagram will sort of, it'll sort of start guessing which types of companies that you generally like to lead source for. And from there, it'll just count that as, okay, even though they haven't liked these posts, they're not following these companies, they're still saving posts from these people. So we should show them more of these companies, right? So you literally go off to your explore page, shopping or style section. And then from there will be lists and lists and lists of suggested pages. And that is the third and final way to find these companies as well. Right. So overall, this is just a very, very sort of a holistic way of finding these companies as opposed to just finding them one by one through different forums. You really have no say when it comes to doing that because you're just sort of like taking whatever comes, if that makes sense. You're sort of like taking whatever company that you come across. Whereas with here, you can literally reverse engineer that. First and foremost, figure out your ideal niche, right? Method number one, you could just go through articles on Google. Method number two, you could find root accounts and you can find their suggested pages. And you can literally in a 15, 20-minute time frame, at one point I've found 20 or 30 qualified companies, right? So it's a very, very fast way to do this. And then once you save up these posts, you can just take another separate session to actually go through and figure out whether these are qualified companies or not. And then lastly, you can also go off to the explore page and you can filter by style or shopping, and it'll show you hundreds, if not thousands of different companies that you could take a look at. So overall, I hope this video makes sense. I didn't go too in depth with the lead sourcing, I didn't go into depth in terms of the qualification process. I might show that in another video. But for now, at least I hope this video clears things up when it comes to actually finding e-commerce businesses to reach out to. Yeah, like I said, in terms of the qualification, a lot more complex process, a lot more technical, and I'll probably break that down in a future video. But for now, hope this helps. And yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know if you guys have any other questions in the comments section, or you guys can shoot me a DM or whatever, and I promise I will get back to you guys as soon as I can.